Hello, dear students. Welcome back to our news channel. Students, today we have important news articles and it explain how they affect our lives. Okay, so first topic that we're going to discuss is regarding water conservation and the role of communities in saving water. And then we have India's decision to remove the Google tax and what it means for trade and digital businesses. Now, these might sound a bit complex, but don't worry, you'll understand these. Uh, and we'll explain this with examples so that you will easily understand it. Okay, so grab your notebooks and if you want to jot down some key points, so let's get started. Right. First, let's talk about something that affect all of us every day. Water. Have you ever thought about what would happen if one day we turned on the tap and no water came out? Scary, right? Water is essential for life. But do you know that many regions in our country and the world facing severe water shortages? Okay. So recently on March 22, which is basically World Water Day, Prime Minister Narendra Modi launched Jal Shakti Abhiyan Catch the Rain. Jal Shakti Abhiyan Catch the Rain 2025. This initiative highlights the importance of community participation in water conservation. Okay? But why is community participation so important? Can't the government just build dams and reservoirs to store water? So let's find out. See, students, in India, rural communities, especially indigenous and local groups, they have been conserving water for centuries using their own traditional techniques like step walls, है ना? कौन कौन से तरीके हैं जैसे step walls हो गया, just and in local language it is also called baulis. Okay, so it's an ancient underground water storage system, and they also check dams. They basically make small barriers to slow down water flow and then allow it to seep into the ground. Okay, and few weeks back we have also covered article on orans, है ना? Orans, so they are what? They are sacred forest. So in Rajasthan, people protect this forest, which also serve as a natural water catchment areas. Okay, but the problem is that modern water policies often ignore these community practices. Okay, so instead, the government uses a one size fits all approach, which may not work everywhere. है ना? हर एक की geographical condition different है. Customs traditions are also different. So one size fits all approach is not suitable. Question is, what are some of the challenges in India's वाटर मैनेजमेंट पॉलिसीज? क्या क्या चैलेंजेस हैं? सबसे पहले सबसे बिगेस्ट जो चैलेंज है, इट इज कम्युनिटी participation is limited nowadays. Okay, farmers and villagers, they use water daily, but they have little say in decision making. कभी आपने देखा है कि गवर्नमेंट फार्मर्स और विलेजर्स को भी इन्वॉल्व कर रही है, या फिर एक बड़े लेवल पर भी अगर है ना वाटर कंजर्वेशन हो रहा है तो उनको इन्वॉल्व किया जा रहा है? बहुत कम ऐसे केसेस देखने को मिलते हैं. Okay, and there's also fragmentation in policies. See, different aspects of water like forest, river and land are managed by different departments, so this lead to confusion. पता ही नहीं चलता forest का क्या है, river का क्या है. अब river के policies is different, forest की is different. Okay, so this lead to confusion. And there's also one culprit जिसके बारे में हम हर बार बात करते हैं, climate change. Rising temperatures are making water shortages worse, and policies are not adapting fast enough. तो जैसे जैसे climate change हो रहा है, temperatures are rising, and this is making water shortage worse. But policies, government policies, they are not adapting fast enough. Okay. And in this news article, a great example of community based water conservation is mentioned. जैसे पहले भी हमने इसके बारे में किया था, ओरांस का, राइट? ओरांस, these are what? These are sacred groves where local communities protect trees and store rainwater naturally. So if such traditional methods were included in national policies, we could actually improve water conservation significantly. हम बहुत अच्छे से, बहुत बेहतर तरीके से वाटर कंजर्वेशन को improve कर सकते हैं. Okay, now you might be thinking, I'm just a student, how can I help in water conservation? See, बहुत सारे steps आप कर सकते हो. We need to start small, reduce water wastage at home, and you can also learn about traditional water conservation methods. Okay, moreover, spreading awareness. Talk to your family and friends about the conservation, about the importance of saving water. Remember, students, every drop counts, and when communities come together, big changes can happen. All right, now students, let's switch our gears and talk about something very different: taxes and trade. Okay, now I know taxes may sound boring, but did you know that the government recently removed a tax that affected companies like Google and Meta? Okay, तो क्या हुआ था? See, in 2016, government introduced a tax called equalization levy. Okay, equalization levy. It is also known as Google tax. So basically, it was meant to ensure that big tech companies pay their fair share of taxes in India. Since they earn a lot of money from Indian users, so they have to pay taxes. All right. For example, when you see an ad on YouTube or Instagram, those companies earn revenues. Okay. So by showing advertisement, they actually earn revenue. But because these are foreign companies, they don't always pay taxes in India. So to fix this issue, India introduced a 6% tax on digital ad services. Later in 2020, a 2% was added on e-commerce platforms like Amazon. Now the question is, India has decided to remove this tax. But why? क्यों remove किया अब? तो बहुत सारे रीजंस हैं जो इस आर्टिकल में मेंशन्ड है. जैसे सबसे बड़ा जो रीजन है वो है प्रेशर फ्रॉम द यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स. So US argue that this tax was basically unfair to American companies like Google, Amazon, and Meta. Okay, and US even launched an investigation under its Trade Act of 1974. Okay, so it also launched an what you can say, investigation under US Trade Act, and it threatened to impose reciprocal tariffs on Indian products if the tax wasn't removed. तो अगर इंडिया अगर टैक्स रिमूव नहीं करता तो इंडिया के जो प्रोडक्ट्स यूएस में जाते हैं उस पर भी टैक्स इंक्रीज किया जाएगा. एंड दिस विल अफेक्ट आवर इकोनॉमी. रीजन बीइंग इज कि यूएस के साथ वी हैव ट्रेड सरप्लस. ओके, now there's also low revenue collection. So despite the tax being in place, it only generate 4,000 crore. It only generate 4,000 crore. Okay, अब आपको लग रहा होगा ये तो कितना ज्यादा अमाउंट है. No, this isn't a huge amount compared to India's total tax revenue. Okay, and there was also some trade negotiations. See, India is negotiating a trade deal with US, and removing this tax helps smoothen relations. Okay, so in the recent union budget, India also lowered import duties on high-end American motorcycles and cars, so which shows that India is now taking a pragmatic approach to trade. Okay, so that's all, students, for our news article. Today we have covered two topics, है ना? सबसे पहला क्या था? Water conservation and then digital taxation. ओके, तो क्या समझना है लास्ट में कि इंडिया रिमूव गूगल टैक्स टू ईज ट्रेड टेंशंस विद यूएस, and this decision will impact how digital businesses are taxed in the future. So that's it for today, students. Thank you for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more exciting discussions. See you next time.